You're watching Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. A loaded show coming your way as the Sixers went into Toronto last night, took a commanding 3-0 lead with a statement victory and an iconic night from Joel Embiid, and a lot of Sixers rumors to get to on today's show as well. Revenge in Toronto. We're going to start off with that because last night's victory was certainly magical for Philadelphia. A career-defining night and shot for JoJo, the real NBA MVP. He did get a little bit banged up. We'll get to that. And, of course, hit the Jay Wright rumors. Retiring from Villanova, could he make his way back to the NBA? And could that NBA gig be with the Philadelphia 76ers? Also, earlier this week, I said, you comment on the show, I'm going to give a shout out to our loyal subscribers. So we start off with last night's win, and with the victory, the Sixers out to a 3-0 lead. There's no way they're going to blow this series now. Embiid was the star, 33 points, 13 rebounds, 3 of 8. We'll dive further into his performance later, but certainly it was one of the best that we've ever seen in the history of this franchise, given the dominance, given the fact that Toronto fans were chanting F Embiid. He gave the middle finger back to those Toronto fans. And James Harden, Tyrese Maxey were pretty solid as well. So too was Tobias Harris. And for Toronto, they're well coached. They're really, really long. They simply don't have the thoroughbreds that the Sixers do. OG Anunoby played well. Gary Trent Jr. coming off the illness. Precious Achiuwa did some good things, but at the end of the day, it was JoJo coming through in the guts of the game to deal Toronto a massive, massive blow. And this was a game that in years previous, the Philadelphia 76ers would never win. I mean, how does it feel to be on the other side of a comeback victory instead of the Sixers being on that brutal side where they blow some of these double-digit leads? This was a gritty, gut check, championship level win for the Sixers, and a victory that was massive moving forward for this basketball team and the mental psyche that's required to compete for an NBA championship, but also in this series alone, because if this series goes 2-1, playing yet another game in Toronto on Saturday, that's when the Sixers in years past have gotten tight, and that's where this series could slip away from Philadelphia. No longer going to happen. If the Raptors come back from a 3-0 lead to win this series, I'll do a show, with my shirt off. That's how confident I am that the Sixers are going to close this puppy out. We'll get to Joel Embiid's performance right around the corner, take a look at the numbers and some of my big takeaways from him as well as the team. But first, I want to hear from you in the comment section down below. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Was this Embiid's best game of his career? Honestly, I think it was, considering what was at stake and how great he was after that bad first quarter and first half. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Last night in Toronto, Joel Embiid did what Nikola Jokic would never do. That right there was a true MVP-level display. 33 points on the night, 13 rebounds, 12 of 20 from the floor, and 3 of 8 from distance. Joel Embiid had the footwork of Hakeem Olajuwon down low. He overpowered the Raptors in terms of physicality like Shaquille O'Neal, and he was hitting shots, turnaround fadeaways like Michael Jordan, and hitting step-back threes like he was Kevin Durant along the perimeter, looking like Kobe Bryant as well. Jokic has been caused fits by the Golden State Warriors so far in that series. The Nuggets are down 2-0, and honestly, I've seen a lot of empty stats from the Joker, who is probably going to win his back-to-back second consecutive MVP award, and for the second consecutive year, Embiid is going to finish in second place. Embiid did last night what true MVPs do: put the team on his back, come through in the guts of the game. When the team needs a bucket, he was able to give them that bucket and create shots for himself. With Jokic, he simply can't put the ball on the deck. He would never hit a fadeaway jumper like Embiid did late in the fourth quarter, or a couple of those ridiculous shots that he converted on in overtime. Embiid, for those of you watching, is the NBA MVP. The Joker is not. And I love how he was able to overcome that bad first half. The posterizing dunk is something that guys who are 1 of 1 are able to pull off. The shot clock 3 from that same left wing that the game winner took place at. to make it 87-87 was a tough contested shot. The fadeaway turnaround at the end of that shot clock to put the Sixers on top 101-100 in overtime was filthy. And then the ridiculous game winner that was made possible by Doc Rivers. For all of you who didn't vote Embiid for NBA MVP, shame on you. Because you let all of the analytics and the statistics kind of overshadow what was actually true. That Embiid in the NBA this year was the most valuable player, not just on the offensive end of the floor, but the defensive end of the floor as well. Nikola Jokic is a great player, but this year it's been all about Joel Embiid. And from last year to this year, the growth has been insurmountable and really profound. And those improvements, they were on full display last night because in years prior, I'm not sure Embiid's able to close the game out in that fashion. Coming up around the corner, more Game 3 takeaways. We'll get to the Joel Embiid injury news. And also, could Jay Wright make the jump to the NBA? And if he does that, could he stay in town and be the coach of the Sixers? But first, I'll let my feelings be known. Embiid is my MVP. I hope he's yours as well. But if you want to disagree with me, that's all good because we love open discourse and an open-minded conversation here at Chat Sports. Who's better? Embiid, Jokic? Get those votes in. Game 3 takeaways. I genuinely feel happy for Embiid. He's had to deal with a lot of personal tragedies in his life. He grew up in Cameroon, didn't start his basketball career till late. Then he goes to Kansas after being overlooked the first couple of years in high school, has some success at Kansas, gets injured. He's preparing for the NBA draft, deals with injuries, gets to the NBA level, misses his first 2 seasons, and in the playoffs, he's either been injured, overweight, or flat out not all that impressive. This year, though, something has changed mentally, I think, for Embiid, and for him to get revenge on Toronto last night, I feel really, really happy for him considering everything that he's dealt with. The Sixers overcome 15 turnovers in that first half to really rebound. In years prior, they would never do that. The Doc Rivers timeout was certainly clutch. Without it, the Sixers don't have that open opportunity for Embiid to hit that game winner. I think so far throughout this series, Doc has outcoached Nick Nurse, and I had said I have concerns about Nick Nurse running laps around Doc. It's been the other way around. And last night, whether it was Embiid, Harden, Maxey, Tobias Harris, Danny Green, everybody was stepping up and making important championship-level plays. Shoot, even Paul Reed had a couple of steals. Full-on team effort, that's what the Sixers needed to be victorious. As for the Joel Embiid injury news, we'll get to this before we get to Jay Wright. He said this after the game, and obviously he had some tape on that thumb/wrist area. It looked as though he got hit on a swipe through. Embiid saying, quote, "I don't know exactly what happened, but I just started feeling pain. I think I might have twisted it, so we're going to see what's going on tomorrow." As of this recording, at about 5 o'clock Eastern PM, no update on Embiid's injury. Now, if you want to bet on the Sixers to complete the sweep, bring out the brooms. You can do so thanks to our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Sixers go into Game 4, 2.5-point favorites, over-under set at 213.5. Enter that link down below, chatsports.com/bet, and the promo code CHAT125 for a 125% deposit bonus. You can bet on the NBA playoffs. You can bet on the Sixers to complete the sweep. You can even bet on some really intriguing NFL futures like maybe the Philadelphia Eagles to do pretty well this upcoming season. Get those bets in. Be bold about it. It's chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125. Jay Wright pulled off a pretty surprising retirement announcement on Wednesday, announcing that he's done, stepping down as head coach of the Villanova Wildcats after a Hall of Fame and illustrious career. And for so long, Sixers fans have been salivating over the idea of Jay Wright going from the main line to South Philadelphia. And I've received this question over the last 24 hours. Could Jay Wright take over for Doc Rivers if Rivers obviously maybe leaves the Sixers or gets fired? Let's explore it a little bit. I think it's really unrealistic. I honestly think that Jay Wright at 60 years old is pretty content with retiring, stepping away, maybe taking a couple of years off before that itch starts to come back. But Jay Wright, at the end of the day, one of the best college head coaches that we've ever seen. A career record of 642, 282. He won nearly 70% of his games, 2 national titles, 2016 against Villanova, as well as that 2018 season, which was really just awesome. Both of those runs were terrific. 2-time National Coach of the Year, 4 Final Four appearances, ending this year with that Final Four appearance in New Orleans, and he was able to turn Villanova into a blue blood. Year in, year out, Villanova on the main line became a destination as a breeding ground for NBA high-level prospects. All of that due in part because of Jay Wright, his ability to build a culture, bring in really good players, and consistently win a lot of games year in and year out. And when you win 2 championships over the span of 3 years, you immediately enter that dynasty territory, and Villanova became a blue blood under Jay Wright. Now, I understand why Sixers fans have salivated over the thought of Jay Wright being the next Sixers head coach. This is really what it comes down to for me. If the Sixers flame out, either in the first round, which I hope won't happen, that would be a kick in the balls. If they go out in the second round and it's ugly, maybe Doc Rivers is fired. Maybe Doc Rivers is let go because Daryl Morey did not originally hire Doc Rivers. If that ends up happening, maybe Jay Wright pulls a Tom Brady or a near Sean Payton and decides, you know what, I'm already living in the Philadelphia area. I can still go to the Jersey Shore, which is a big reason why I stayed at Villanova with that cushy job. I can make $8 million per year coaching right here in Philadelphia, maybe. But it all really comes down to the playoff success for Philly. And in this first-round playoff series, Doc Rivers has been pretty damn good. So as of right now, I think Jay Wright, he's going to be cool spending time with the fam and not getting back into the coaching ranks, at least for the next couple of years. A network out there because of his pretty face. The fact that he's defying Father Time, kind of like Tom Brady. He's 60 years old, but looks like he's 50. He'll get paid a lot of money to be an analyst on any national network out there. So what is your level of interest in Jay Wright? Let's just say there's a report out there that Jay wants to go to Philly. Where would your level of interest lie on a scale of 1 to 10? 1? Nah, I'm good. 10? I'm all in. Let me know. Also, subscribe to the channel. Multiple videos per week as we continue to kill the game here on Philadelphia 76ers Now. 218 people away from 6,000 subs. Let's get there as soon as possible. And talking about subscribers, earlier this week I had said you get into the comment section, and if you're subscribed and you type yo, I'll give you a shout out. So I'm going to run through these names very, very quickly. Hopefully I'm able to pronounce all of them right. Ryan Rowe, Lion Fighter, longtime loyal viewer, Tiger Hoods, Brian Cordero, Peter Thurman, another one of our loyal watchers, Stinkfoot, Ian Miles, Dom Gianola, Pedro Garcia, Tash Journey, Buff Panda, YouTube Reaper. Either way. Hopefully it's Reaper. Christian Dakler, Eugene Frierson, an international name that is really hard to pronounce, but I'm going to go with Rupiak. I don't know, but thank you for commenting and watching. Tom Andrusina, Daniel L., Iron Mizzle, Jaspora26, Keeler Kemmerer, Rick Bennett, and OG, Joel Ramos, Jamesy Boy, Tom Lagora, Murphy Brown, Marquise Robertson, Ty Vita, and King Orphan. You followed the rules, you did it, and because of that, you got a shout out in front of a few thousand people. Thanks so much for supporting the show, and if you haven't subscribed, do so right now.